Here we go. Vedro versus Roger in a big battle here. Vedro using Punishment Dragapult against Claydol from Roger, doing super effective damage. The Ghost move would do more damage and also be super effective if it's available. It's possible that Vedro just does not have a good Ghost attack. Dracovish switching in, a little bit of switching action happening there. Going for Flame Charge against the Aromatisse, and Aromatisse definitely winning out on that trade with the Draining Kiss. Super effective. Vedro realizes the problem there and switches into a Crobat, which is a great switch. And Zebstrika from Roger. Poison Tail doing okay damage. Probably could have done more if it was a different attack. Vedro taking some big damage on his Corviknight here. Staying in as well. Corviknight very often is a huge like linchpin for a team. A defensive linchpin. So to see Vedro lose this Corviknight so early kind of is a red flag that things might not go well for him. Especially because he was doing it for the sake of getting a Steel Wing, which he doesn't even get because it was flinched, but wouldn't have done too much anyway. Vedro does decide to save it. I think it's a little bit late. Yeah, so all sorts of problems happening here. So Ved wanted to save his Corviknight after it was mostly dead and switches in Gallade to try and save the Corviknight, but the Gallade just ends up dying to the Zebstrika anyway, and so Ved loses way more than he needed to. You know, could have either switched the Corviknight out earlier or alternatively just let the Corviknight die because it was so low anyway. Either way, Cloyster coming in on a Zebstrika seems like it could be a mistake because Cloyster is water and Zebstrika is electric. We'll see what happens. Zebstrika goes for Thunderfang, and that's the reason why this might not be a mistake, because you can see that despite the fact that it's super effective damage, it's actually not even two hitting because Cloyster is just so very strong physically. And so this might be an okay trade. We'll see what the Cloyster goes for. Goes for Freeze Dry and does do some decent damage. So it looks like this Cloyster will be able to defeat the Zebstrika. Oh, unfortunately gets a really unfortunate flinch there. And now Ved, oh, poor Ved, is in really bad spot. Switches in Dragapult on the Thunderfang. Gets paralyzed. Everything going very wrong for Ved. This Play Rough is now finishing off the Dragapult too. Just really unfortunate for Ved here. And Dracovish finally finishing off this Zebstrika. Not yet. Goes for Flame Charge though, so it might be faster now. It is. Will this next one kill? No. Oh, but the Play Rough missed, and he's got another chance. There we go. Final Flame Charge will finish off the Zebstrika. Raid boss down. Let's see if Vedro is able to come back. It will be very hard. It's definitely an uphill battle from here. Ved lost so much, so many resources because of that. All right, so now he has to deal with this Aromatisse. Goes into Crobat to do it. Camera up to switching in. Not taking very much damage from this Poison Tail. Resisted. Corviknight switching in on the Lava Plume, which is fine. The Corviknight dies, of course, but the Corviknight wasn't going to do very much anyway because of how low it was. And here's Cloyster. Cloyster with the Origin Pulse will one-shot this Camerupt 4 times effective. Here's Swanna. Swanna goes for Bullet Punch, but Cloyster's so defensive that it lives on 2, even though it was a crit, and Freeze Dry kills the Swanna. And so here is where we can kind of see just a little bit, a little glimpse of how this Cloyster actually has a great matchup against Roger. And if this was played slightly differently, even though Ved did get very unlucky, I do kind of believe that if he didn't end up losing so many resources to the Zebstrika, I think this Cloyster could have won. We'll see what else happens though. Aromatisse coming in on the Cloyster. Cloyster going for Freeze Dry. Not doing too much to the Aromatisse. And it will go down to that Horn attack. And Ved is down to this Crobat, but Crobat has a nice matchup. Poison Tail finishing off the Aromatisse. And so now it's this Crobat against the two Pokemon remaining on Roger's team. Goes into Salamence, which you would think would be able to beat a Crobat, and that looks like that's what's going to happen. But again, if the Cloyster was still alive, you can kind of imagine Cloyster would destroy the Salamence. So there's kind of a possibility of what could have been if things went slightly different. But this is where we are. We've got Salamence versus Crobat. Salamence does finish off the Crobat, and that will be it. GG. All sorts of things going on there. There's some luck. There's some all sorts of things. But it was a very interesting battle. GG.